So if you don't like it being said to you, it's fair to assume that your clients don't like it when you say it to them, or your assistant coaches don't say it to them, or things like that. So, identifying that, like, first stage, know you have a problem. Okay, now you have a problem. So, like, all right, cool. I've said this to my clients before. I want to change that habit, but like, I'm going down this road, and I think I gave them everything that they need to be successful, and they're just not doing the work. So where do I start looking to try to solve this, so that way that's not my answer, or at least, hey, I've no stone unturned. I've done these 10 things, my 10-step checklist, or maybe it's 5 or 1 or whatever, before at the end of the day, well, yeah, truly they're just not doing their part. So where do I start?
Yeah, I mean, to answer simply, you can start anywhere you'd like, right? Because everyone has a unique set of circumstances. Now, I
Don't
will say,
generalize, Andrew.
Well, I
Last
will say-
episode, Andrew, we said 80 to 90% in a
Listen.
framework. It's got to fit.
my name is Glenn. So, cut it. Cut it. Fourth wall break.
It's funny when
Oh, God.
when Andrew loses his train of thought.
I need a second. I'm just picturing a gremlin in the corner up in that roof now that I looked over there. I got to turn away.
What?
But okay, so I think it's really important that stop it, dude. Stop it. It's 7:15. We got to mark this one. I'm marking this one on my watch so that we know where to cut it. And so all I say is that because there's so much uncertainty, we want to control the things that we can. And we want to get rid of everything else that we would consider noise, meaning in the approach that we're going to suggest here of being a more emotionally intelligent coach, you want to make sure that above all else, the other person feels understood. You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to make it okay for them, right? Let's just start with that, because there are people that hear emotional intelligence and they think about something that we call idiot compassion, which just means that anything that they do is considered okay, it's considered right. It's like, oh, Mimi, whatever you need, all I'm is. We don't want to enable people by doing that for excessive periods of time, because that doesn't service originally why they came to us. And it's actually an ethical dilemma. And so if you ever have someone that's overly placating, or if you're super nice like I was for about 5 or 6 years of my coaching stint inside of there, you won't be very effective. Right, he kind of got the other
That didn't
end.
happen in the past 3 to 4 years.
I will say, when I did coach Steven here, we were doing a performance goal, which is either you get the outcome that you want or you don't. And it's very much, which is why I prefer performance-based coaching, because it's either you did or you didn't, right? And then we just scaffold and skill around that of like, well, what do you need help with? What are the obstacles, right? When we talk about general health and fitness and people that aren't necessarily looking at these high-stakes outcomes, maybe they just want to lose a couple pounds, we do take a slightly more compassionate approach, because it's most people when they hire a personal trainer, we hear this all the time. They're like, oh, they start dumping all their life problems on you. And there's a term called the armchair psychologist, which is basically where people are just inherently, they inherently just want to go connect with another human being, and they want to be doing that in a way that's healthy, or it's going to be conducive to something else, right? And so going back to being emotionally intelligent, you need to make sure that people feel understood. Now, there's a lot of coaches that will say, yeah, I do that all the time. If you're doing, I do that all the time as I'm saying this out loud, you're the problem. Sorry. Or you want to think about it, because what's not happening is that you might not be allowing or demonstrating to the other person that you truly understand their concerns. And if people don't feel understood, their receptiveness to taking on new information or doing things is going to decrease drastically. So when coaches now, on the other hand, will say, hey, you're too lazy or you don't want it, what that's lacking is that compassion. What it's lacking is an understanding of that person's perceived circumstances. And what that does is immediately shuts down, and it creates a confrontational type of relationship, which realistically, like, if someone's going to berate me or belittle me or make it seem like they don't have my back, why would I ever do anything that's potentially very uncomfortable physically, mentally, or emotionally for them? It wouldn't make, even if I'm paying them. And so that's where I think we should probably start any coaching relationship, is just a level set. Understand the situation, which is what you do during a consultation when you're trying to provide value, make them feel understood. But I mean, in your experience, because obviously you know, you coach the business side of things and like you're constantly peopling. And I've never met anyone that just trips into a full client load without having any kind of ad spend. Like, it's wild, but you clearly do the people thing very well. How do you help people inherently feel like you understand their problems, or how do you create that connection?
So I think for me, it's removing the ego of having to understand what they're talking about, what's going on in their world, their day to day, and just being willing to ask the dumb questions, like repeatedly. Like it's just like, hey, I don't understand. Hey, I'm gonna ask this in a really naive sense, and like really leading with that to just make sure you truly do understand foundational. Like you said, somebody's dealing with kids and dogs and house and job and all these things and sleeping and weekends and family, and you have no idea. So you go down this road of just asking the same question time and time again. We got to hang out with one of our clients, and I've probably asked the questions that I've asked today multiple times before in different ways. And at some point, I'm sure he's probably like, I've answered this already. But there's usually like you ask the question differently, and then the message comes across differently. They understand it differently. I heard it differently. There's some version thereof that eventually it completely clicks. And now you can then deliver the feedback or the answer that they need, you want them to hear, whatever it might be, in such a way that it now kind of solves all of the problems at hand. Whereas before you were just missing something. So for me, it does come down to, I'll just keep asking the questions. Usually, like, I'm not going to, why? Oh,
Yeah,
but why?
don't do that.
Because
Don't do that.
that doesn't end well.
Oh gosh.
But I can ask the same question 5 different ways. They don't realize I'm asking the same question. And I can start to truly understand all the pieces. Or I can hit a different nerve, if you will, and they tell me a different piece of the puzzle that I'm not necessarily seeing.
Yeah.
And that allows me to now, like, okay, here's how I can navigate getting them to do the thing that they need to do because I know it's going to be good for them, or at least it helps get us an additional piece of data. And I feel like a lot of coaches in general, like coaching as a whole, like no matter what the industry is, you're afraid to look dumb. So you're afraid to ask questions that potentially make you look dumb because you're like, well, I already asked this 3 times, but I still don't understand. Like, we'll ask a 4th time.